guys, welcome back to another episode of Year of the Empire Finger Guns. This week we are reviewing a movie called Catacombs.
Catacombs. Another movie with like a horrible generic name.
And you know, I feel like it doesn't quite
deserve that generic feel.
I feel like Catacombs isn't like the main attraction of this. So
it's actually not.
No, like I the fact that it is a catacomb is irrelevant to the movie. So anyways, this movie came out in 1988. It was made by the end of like Empire Pictures. They were like going into the crapper at this point. And it was not, well, it was released in 1988. However, it was not released stateside until 1993, where it received the title Curse 4: The Ultimate Sacrifice. In one of my previous Demon movies reviews, I talked about the entire Curse movies and how they don't make any sense. So this doesn't feel like a Curse movie, and also it doesn't feel like an Empire Pictures movie.
No, it definitely, I don't know, there's more world building in it, I feel like.
Yeah, it feels like a more like suave and put together horror film. Like again, it's not like groundbreaking. This isn't like a huge classic, but it doesn't feel trashy. Like every other
like it's
Empire
a movie like I
does.
definitely watch it again because I enjoyed the concept. I enjoyed how everything looked. They kind of built on stuff a lot more too, which was nice.
It was less about effects and more so about just like the plot.
Yeah, there's
and
not much like gruesome murder or anything
No.
like that. There's killings, but there's nothing like super, groundbreakingly gruesome.
It just didn't feel like fit the normal Empire vibe. And this movie was actually directed by David Schmoeller, which I'm probably pronouncing that name wrong, but yeah, that's probably how you pronounce it. No, it's the guy who directed the original Puppet Master, which that came out in 1989. This came out in 1988. He might have gone from Catacombs to making Puppet Master, and it was just
decently solid.
Charles Band going like, okay, this production company fell, so let's try this.
Here's my new one.
So it is pretty interesting that it was made by someone who made Puppet Master. That made us do all this whole review series, but. It is a good movie. I do want to say that this is a movie that it has a lot going for it and not the typical Empire Pictures stuff.
No, it definitely felt different, and that's what I liked about it. There was a big... I don't want to say it had more like shine to it.
It did feel like it had more of a shine to it.
Okay, then that might be fair.
Like, it didn't feel like what I said before, trashy, but it also didn't feel cheap. The sets looked nice.
Cheap. The acting was pretty good.
Yeah, the acting was good. Honestly, I don't think there was like a weak link in it.
No.
So real quick, I'll go over the plot before we talk more about like the highlights of this movie. It takes place at this monastery, and this one woman from America, who's like a school teacher, gets permission from Brother Superior. I didn't know monks go by like Brother Superior. I thought
they might not.
I don't know. Who knows? If you know, comment below. But. Anyways, she gets permission to come here and just kind of take pictures of the catacombs and just learn stuff. And literally all the monks are like totally cool with it, except this one like skeezy guy who
doesn't blink.
He does not blink. I was halfway through the movie and I realized this guy has beady eyes that are always looking at me. They're always looking at me. Wait a moment. And
then we start watching and we're like,
blinking.
He actually doesn't blink. It's kind of impressive.
It's very impressive and a really interesting character trait that you probably don't notice. You might get that uneasy feeling of a guy who's always staring at you, but I just realized it randomly, and I'm pretty sure he's like, for all the close-up shots, he does not blink.
He does not blink.
Very interesting character trait. It definitely makes him like kind of like that creepy.
It gives a creepy vibe, kind of an always looking at you vibe, and I think that was the point of it.
Yeah, and there's also like. There's a few monks that are relevant. There's also like a priest there who's like kind of taking care of like this older monk that's dying and like reading to him and whatnot. And in it, I would say when this movie shines is that a lot of the characters are just really solid. The woman I don't really remember much about. Honestly, I don't even think she was the main character. I think it would be more so the priest.
Yeah,
even though the first half was kind of more like her, but by the end the priest was the main character. But there's two monks in here that I think are like amazing. Brother Superior, I just love like how he talks with Brother Marinus is the skeezy guy. And then there's, I forget the other monk's name, but he's like probably the second main character, and he's just really good vibe to him. I don't really know how to explain it. He just seems
like a guy you get drunk at a monastery with.
Yeah. You know, I know like that feels like a dumb thing to say, but he is kind of like the guy you'd get drunk in a monastery.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And he was just like this fun character that just like really resonated with me, and that to me like helped make this movie even better. Now it feels like one of those like Italian horror movies.
It does have a slight Italian vibe to it.
But it was out the trash.
Yeah.
It didn't have like the over the top bloody kills that like Italy always had.
And didn't have Goblin playing music.
Yeah, it did not have Goblin playing the music. But part of me's kind of wish it had like lent more into like this more bloody kind of thing. It was more killing. But instead, I do kind of like on the other end like that it was this more low key, just kind of atmospheric horror thriller.
Yeah, and sometimes those are better.
And I would say the ending might have been a little weak. It didn't really pack a punch because it didn't go full in with the effects at any point in this movie. But it was really good. Like I would say besides like the lukewarm ending, it really did have some of the best atmosphere I think we've had yet.
I enjoyed it. I'd watch this again.
Yeah.
Definitely would watch. And you know how we're kind of saying like, that's how we could judge a lot of these movies. Would you watch it again? Yes, I'd definitely watch it again. 100%.
It was...
I'd probably watch it a third time.
It's a good Empire movie. This is my second time watching it, by the way, because I mentioned it before and what I mentioned before in my Demon review. But it was a very solid movie. I would say the effects were almost non-existent, and when they were around, they weren't. And it wasn't amazing.
Like they weren't there, and they needed to be. There wasn't really point for them to be there. Yeah.
I think a good comparison, because we were talking about like modern like demon possession movies and like The Conjuring and whatnot, and there was The Nun. I think is a good example where it kind of, instead of going for the atmosphere, it went for like the shock value is like the effects.
I actually thought in The Nun that hurt the movie.
Yeah.
There was a point where it felt like a zombie movie at one point, and I was like, and it just kind of took me aback because I'm a big fan of like The Exorcist type creepy. I like
kind
the
of
creepy.
Subtle horror.
That's what gets me. Like, I could watch a zombie movie and it's like, oh, that's kind of scary, and then you're done and it's like, okay. But, like, I love a good movie that has, like... When we got done watching a few of the, like, Exorcist or, like, the fourth Exorcist or the prequel Exorcist, and I remember we got done probably at, like, 10 to 2 in the morning. This is a while ago. And I remember just, like, being alone in a room just kind of, like... I'm kind of creeped out right now. Like, it's... That type of stuff creeps me out. I like Supernatural... because it does kind of like demons and ghosts and stuff like that. Because I think that's got... Because in the end, you're not really scared of a zombie coming after you. You're not scared of a vampire. You're not scared of a werewolf.
Demonic,
but like the demonic, like,
good versus evil.
Yeah, the demonic stuff always gets to me. And that might be my religion and stuff talking. But I think humans as a whole are very... We get creeped out by the supernatural, what we do not understand, what we don't...
Fear of the unknown.
And I think that's something that, even if you don't believe in like certain stuff, you might watch some of these movies and it might be 2 in the morning and you're just kind of looking at the window or you're looking at the dark corner of your room. You're like, what if I see eyes there? I'm not going to see eyes there. But what if I do? And I find that type of... And this wasn't, like, super into that. This wasn't an Exorcist, like, creepy...
Don't get us wrong. This isn't, like, a top-tier movie.
It touched on... It grabbed towards it. And I could appreciate that a lot. And I've always liked this, like, the whole, like, Christians versus... Like, almost like the priest versus the demon type of stuff that happens. And I thought it at least was grasping towards it. And I thought it was a good attempt, and honestly, you wouldn't think this was at the tail end of the studio.
Yeah, this feels like a really solid entry, and it feels like Empire was even like just dabbling into doing like more like a higher form of art than the trash they would typically play.
Just like a lot of the stuff that we liked more with them were at the beginning, and that makes more sense. Now, I would say they didn't get worse necessarily, but their highs got fewer and far between. This was definitely, you wouldn't think this was almost like at the end of it. And I thought that was interesting, that it was a kind of a last hurrah that a lot of Americans wouldn't have seen for years after it didn't exist as a
And
company.
it was just dropped direct to DVD, about direct to video here.
Yeah, and it's a gem. And
it was just called Curse 4, so how many people didn't even see it because it was called a Curse movie?
And it said 4, and they're like, I haven't seen the other, 8 curses. And then, I don't know, I just felt like...
It said 4, and I haven't seen the other 8 movies, so what am I going to do?
You never know with those Italian movies.
Honestly.
So, I felt like it was something that had a lot of potential, and it reached a lot of it. The acting, like we said, good acting. Not all these movies have had good acting. They'd have good acting and then they have 1 or 2 characters that were like, that took me out.
That's what I remember, because it's so bad.
And that's what you do remember. You remember you could have all good actors. You could have that one person. Okay, I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but you'll get it. That 70s show. Randy.
Yep.
What do you remember from that last season?
Randy.
Randy's horrible acting. I'm sorry to that actor, but you ruined that.
That's Myra's younger brother.
Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah, not as good as his brother.
You remember that, and this one doesn't have any bad acting. I enjoyed every character.
Not only that, it had two characters that to me are very memorable.
There was a female character in it that you didn't see it. You didn't get a lot of background.
Develop of this other.
But like we said, it's not perfect, but it was grasping towards something, and I think it was a good movie for that.
In this movie, they kind of build up the paranoia of the monks for a bit, but then it gets to the point where only the 3 main monks really are relevant to the story. I guess if this was redone, if they would have put more effort in expanding the character traits of all the monks, and then they are all relevant to the storyline.
If you had a decent budget and remade it, it would be phenomenal. It'd be up there with the...
Never be remade, but...
Oh, yeah, never.
And yeah, actually, it's a good point. This is a small budget. This had nowhere near the budget of Exorcist, and it is, for the budget it has, it is
actually,
kind of
for the budget, it's probably amazing.
Yeah, so... And I got only good things
I would definitely say watch this. When I went into it, he's like, we're watching Catacombs. I'm like, this is probably going to be horrible.
Cool, let's just watch and get it over with. But no,
I was actually pretty enthralled by it, so...
Yeah, I definitely enjoy it. Do you have anything else to say about Catacombs?
No, definitely watch it. I think I got touched on the whole what I liked about it. I'd watch it. I would recommend it. Get it, and it's worth it. Probably $4 for the DVD.
Yeah, I actually have this. This is on a 4-pack with Cellar Dweller and 2 other non-important movies, and you can buy. I bought the DVD before I even got this Blu-ray pack, and it was $10. Could be even cheaper now. And literally, it's almost the exact same release because this is just
there's really no bonus features on this one,
which I would have liked to see.
Actually, this is one that there's horrible movies we watched that had 2 hours of bonus features. This one was actually really good. It was nothing.
Nothing at all. I think there was an audio commentary. We haven't been watching those because that would mean we'd have to watch the movie over again.
Which I would. This one I'd actually be tempted to.
Yeah, I think it's from. I think it has a director.
Can I be honest? In my whole life, I've watched one commentary
for a Simpson episode.
And it was a Simpson episode.
Yeah.
I think that's the only one. Have you watched?
No, I've never watched a commentary.
So that was the only. I don't know why that episode we watched.
I don't know either.
That's actually kind of funny. That's the only time we've ever watched a commentary.
I have zero interest in other commentaries. So yeah, that's pretty much all we got to say about Catacombs. Hidden gem, very low budget, but.
Like I said, there's been a few hidden gems on this, and if we say they're worth a watch, they're probably worth a watch. But who's watching this? Is this worth a watch? I don't know. We're getting really deep right now.
Yeah, some of these reviews are absolutely awful. Reno was trash.
I mean, look at this horribly ghetto layout we have. I bring this up every time we're down here. We don't even have a studio.
Where else could we film it? Everything is awful in this house. We had a better place to film, but now we're stuck here.
Yeah, how dare my marriage fall apart.